Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a calm, steady look at one of the most famous passages in all of Chinese philosophy. Our goal here is to demystify the very first chapter of the Tao Te Ching. We're going to step away from the vague mysticism you might normally associate with it, and instead turn it into a highly practical, coherent framework for observing our modern world. The chapter opens with these foundational lines. A way that can be spoken of is not the constant way. A name that can be named is not the constant name. The nameless is the beginning. The named is the mother. Therefore, without desire, one observes its subtle mystery. With desire, one observes its boundaries. Now this sets up our central, grounding argument for today. Simply put, no single label, name, or concept can ever fully contain the whole of reality. Part 1. The limits of names and the illusion of labels. As human beings, it's completely natural and honestly absolutely necessary for us to understand the world by assigning names and categories to everything we encounter. Take something as simple as a tree. When we use the label tree, we aren't just talking about a word, right? A tree is this ongoing, ever-changing result of sunlight, soil, water, time, climate, and countless interconnected relationships. Now, labels like tree or calling a person successful or unsuccessful are incredibly useful. We absolutely need them to make daily decisions and to communicate with each other. But they also artificially limit our understanding. The moment we name something, we're selecting only a tiny, frozen part of a constantly changing reality. A name is a tool for understanding reality. It is not reality itself. And this reveals the difference between what Laozi calls the nameless and the named. These two concepts aren't enemies. Before we divide the world up into separate, neat little concepts, reality exists as an interconnected whole. That is the nameless. It allows us to see wholeness, connection, and possibility. But once we start categorizing things, the world becomes differentiated. That is the named, which reveals distinction, order, and form. We really need both. They're just two necessary ways that reality appears to us. Which brings us to part 2, two ways of seeing, with and without desire. Here, Laozi does something really interesting. He redefines desire and desirelessness. He doesn't treat them as moral opposites in some epic struggle of good versus bad, but rather as two distinct complementary lenses for observing the world around us. So when the text talks about observing without desire, it doesn't mean you have to magically eliminate all human wants and become a monk. Rather, it means temporarily letting go of your immediate purpose. It's about suspending your expectations and releasing your fixed judgments. You're pausing, just for a moment, so you can notice subtle changes, deeper relationships, and unrealized possibilities that just haven't taken a fixed form yet. To observe without desire, you really have to quiet the noise. You have to temporarily stop asking those relentless, everyday questions. What can I gain from this? Is this useful to me? Does this agree with me? Can this help me achieve my goal? By pausing that purpose-driven mind chatter, we can finally observe the subtle mystery of reality, the deeper reality that our everyday practical labels normally hide from view. But let's be real, we can't live entirely in that space. Observing with desire is equally necessary. That means looking at the world with a clear, practical purpose. When you're running a business, you have to consider cost, risk, and return. When you're designing a product, you absolutely must consider your users, the functions, and the physical limitations. When you're solving a problem, you have to decide what is actually possible. Observing with desire is mandatory for functioning in reality. It's what allows us to see the practical boundaries, the forms, and the visible outcomes of things. Part 3. The balance in action, and applying the two lenses. So how do we actually apply these two lenses to our modern lives? Well, think about how we evaluate another person. Observing someone with desire means you're focusing on their role, their skills, their experience, and their usefulness for a specific job. That purposeful observation helps you act and make necessary decisions. But on the flip side, observing without desire means you also take the time to notice their background, their unique circumstances, their personal struggles, and their unrealized potential. This purpose-free observation prevents us from reducing a complex, ever-changing human being into a fixed, rigid label. Both of these perspectives reveal something entirely real, but neither perspective is complete all by itself. And this duality leads perfectly to the text's conclusion. These two arise from the same source, though they are given different names. Together, they are called profound. It's so important to clarify here that the word profound isn't some vague supernatural claim. It's actually a grounded reminder that reality is always, always deeper than any single definition or explanation we try to put on it. Both lenses, desire and desirelessness, the names and the nameless, they arise from the exact same world. Which brings us to our final takeaway. Use names, but do not mistake names for reality. Act with purpose, but preserve the ability to observe without purpose. Moving fluidly between these two ways of seeing, acting with direction to turn ideas into reality, while also pausing to release our expectations, brings us closer to a rich, interconnected world that no label can completely express. So, as you move through your day today, I'll leave you with this question. Are you only seeing the labels you've created, or are you preserving the space to observe the subtle mystery beneath them?